Miracle Boy Boxing. I am your host, Ocean Cruz, and today we're going to talk about Edgar Berlanga, the Monster Return versus Jason Quigley on June 24th, live on DAZN from Madison Square Garden, Brooklyn, New York, New York. Um, this is, like many say, this is Berlanga's return since, by the time he steps in the ring, it's going to be a year since he's been in the ring against Alexis Angulo when he got suspended because of trying to pull a Mike Tyson on Angulo, and so said, so done. He did that, and he got suspended for 6 months, and it gave him a break from boxing. So he's back now on June 24th against Jason Quigley from Ireland, who is not the best fighter at 168, but he's a veteran. He's been in there, 31 years old. He's been in there with Demetrius Andrade, Toriano Johnson, Shane Mosley Jr. He's not a Jaime Munguia. He's not obviously Canelo Alvarez. He's not a top 168 killer. But he is the right opponent for Edgar Berlanga, for Edgar to, in his last three performances, he won them, but it was not convincing. And now here he is signing with DAZN under Eddie Hearn. His first fight under DAZN with Eddie Hearn. And after a year, by the time he gets in there, it's going to be a year. He wants to shake off those cobwebs, the rust, and choosing Jason Quigley is, based on paper, the right and ideal opponent for Edgar. I mean, it's boxing, anything can happen. But Jason Quigley, he's not a bad fighter. He's got a win over Shane Mosley Jr. That's his notable win. That's his biggest win he's had. And Shane Mosley Jr. is not a bad fighter either. So that was a pretty good win for him. He's got 20 wins, 2 losses, 14 knockouts. So he's got a decent pop. But Jason Quigley's more of a boxer. He's not a come forward guy that's gonna want to mix it up with Edgar. I can see him trying to box, trying to counter Edgar, and make it a little difficult for him. He's 31 years old. He's been in there a little. He's been in there, even though he's got a few more fights than Edgar. He's a bit more experienced than him. So he's gonna use the ring, do what he got to do to try to make it difficult for the young lion Edgar Berlanga, trying to frustrate him with his movement, his boxing, his counters, and try not to make it as easy as everyone think this fight is going to be. Edgar started off with the first 16 round knockouts, first round knockouts, draw a lot of attention internationally. And after that after the 16 first round knockouts disappeared when he fought Demon Nicholson, fighting guys that knew how to use the ring, get away, be smart. The knockouts disappeared, and he did 4 fights in a row without getting a knockout. He won them unanimously, but it was not impressive. And here he is now with Jason Quigley, who on paper is the guy that likely will fall into Edgar's trap, who's got a chance to fall into Edgar's trap, because Edgar can punch at the end of the day. He's very strong, he can punch, and if he lands clean, he can do some solid damage, man. Jason Quigley may not even be able to take it. But, Quigley, like I said, Demetrius Andrade knocked him out in 2 rounds. So let's see what happens. Edgar is not as talented as Demetrius Andrade, but if Demetrius Andrade can catch him, imagine what Edgar could do, who's a harder puncher, who's stronger. But Edgar's got to catch him. I'm not giving up on Edgar. I kind of wanted to, but I still have that feeling like he's 25, and I still have that feeling that he can come back and beat Edgar Berlanga that we first the same Edgar that we first saw. Doesn't have to get the first round KOs again. He can get them two in the second round, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Doesn't have to be first round. And it can be decision as well, but impressive. I don't mind him going to decision, but impressively. And that's what I want in this fight against Jason Quigley. A KO, that would be perfect. Of course, impressively. Likely, if Edgar lands a knockout shot, lands a KO, is gonna be vicious. And yeah. So Edgar the Monster Berlanga is back. First fight on DAZN under Eddie Hearn, Madison Square Garden, the main event against Jason Quigley. I kind of have a feeling like if Edgar, I got this feeling, that sense, anytime Edgar fights, that he still can get a first round knockout, and I have a feeling that he can get it in his fight. He just, once he uses his jab and sets his right hand up and cut the ring off, because I know Jason Quigley is not going to come forward and trade with Edgar Berlanga. That would be his biggest mistake he's ever made in his career, because you're just running straight into the lion's den. You know, Edgar wants you to come forward to land his power shots. And Demetrius Andre knocked out Jason Quigley in 2 rounds, who's not known as a guy that comes to knock you out. So if Jason does that with Edgar, comes forward, try to make it a firefight, it's not going to go well at all. So I kind of get the feeling like we're going to see a knockout. I want to say in the first round. You know, Edgar sets it up, cuts the ring off, uses jab. He's back to his amateur trainer that he had he's back to his old trainer from the amateur days. So let's see what happens and what changes he's made in his camp coming into for this fight. So Edgar Berlanga, guys, versus Jason Quigley, June 24th on DAZN, live from Madison Square Garden in Brooklyn, New York, in a theater. I got Edgar Berlanga, of course, by, I want to say stoppage. You know what? I'm gonna say stoppage. Edgar gets the KO for the first time in 4 fights. I'm not gonna say first round knockout, even though I got a feeling that he might get it. But I'm gonna go with a knockout win for Edgar. Edgar will be back. This time off, away from the ring, he was able to focus a lot more in the gym as well. Tweak some stuff in his training. Went back to his amateur days trainer who made him the Edgar that we know and love. You know, because in the amateur days, I've always heard Edgar was an excellent boxer. So let's see what happens in this fight. I always say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Edgar is a guy that comes forward, throws hard punches, try to drill holes on you, punch holes through you, and that's who he is. Don't try to change him to Sugar Ray Leonard on his back foot, trying to throw combinations. No, and just flashy combinations and speed. No, Edgar is a come forward guy, Mexican style, comes to bang it out. That's how he got his first 16 first round knockouts, by coming forward and throwing haymakers. He didn't get it by boxing. So one thing about Edgar, he has a really good jab, and it's thudding. It's a very thudding jab. It's like a power shot. But once he uses it, it's very effective. And that's all he needs. All he needs is his jab and to set up that right hand. His jab is excellent. He just needs to use it more effectively, more often. And once he does, it'll be a problem for anybody. Edgar has a really good jab. So let's see what happens, guys. June 24th, Edgar Berlanga, he's back versus Jason Quigley. I'm looking forward to and expecting an excellent performance by Berlanga. And let's see what happens. Jason Quigley, you know, his boxing, like I said, anybody that enters the boxing ring with two hands has a chance, and Jason Quigley has a chance. You know, he's not known for a guy that knocks you out, but he's got 14 knockouts and 20 wins, so he's got some pop in there. So we'll see what happens, guys. American Boy Boxing, I'm your host. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And it's always a pleasure talking to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.